Welcome to the League of Legends Patch Preview. I'm Freak and I'm here with Morello, lead champion designer. Together we'll be discussing some of the gameplay changes coming into the next update for League of Legends. Note that this video does not cover every single change, but will explain our thought process behind some of our decisions. We have a huge set of changes to Shen coming in the next patch, with every one of his abilities getting something. What are our goals with these changes?
One of the big goals with the Shen buffs was to make him scale better throughout the entire game. Vorpal Blade's health return now scales on Shen's maximum health even if allies hit it. This means as Shen gets more and more tanky throughout the game, his Vorpal Blade heal still has relevancy throughout the rest of the game. We've taken a similar approach and increased the health percent scaling amount on Keystrike. This continues to let him be a threat and make players want to attack him, which is kind of the primary role of a tank. The things we see with primary tanks like Alistar is that while they're in there being disruptive, adding crowd control and stunning enemies, they're preventing a lot of damage for their team entirely since the enemy can't do a lot. We wanted to take a similar approach to Shadow Dash. When Shen Shadow Dashes a target, they do reduce damage to Shen for the duration of the taunt. This means that even though they're attacking him, their total damage is still going down through the course of a team fight. One common complaint from Shen players is how constrained his energy was. In longer fights, we wanted to give Shen a way to restore energy if he plays smartly and looks for opportunities to do so. Shadow Dash will now restore energy based on the number of enemy champions taunted. This means that if Shen can land that kind of clutch, perfect Shadow Dash, he'll get a lot of energy back and be able to start doing other things again more quickly. Another way we've let Shen manage his energy more effectively is by adding energy restoration to Keystrike. In addition to this, his auto attacks will now lower the cooldown of Keystrike when he hits people as opposed to when he gets hit, and while Faint Shield holds, that rate is doubled. Therefore, if Shen can get in there and really manage all these elements at the same time, he'll be getting energy back much faster than we see currently.
Sona has taken the throne for best support champion for a while. We do have some Sona nerfs coming into this patch. How are we bringing her in line?
The Sona changes are completely oriented around her early game power. By reducing the power on the rank 1 through 4 auras and letting them catch up at 5, we get to remove some power in the early game Sona and balance her out more effectively, but we get to kind of leave what's fun about Sona intact, which is the active abilities. There is a new thing that Sona players can now think about, which is kind of which aura do I want to spec into. Since Sona's auras now get noticeably stronger as you rank them up, you can kind of spec into which aura you want to go to and get to rank 5 first, which is a new decision for Sona players to make.
We also have a number of changes to Soraka. We're tweaking the mana costs on Starcall and Astral Blessing. We're also upping the mana given on Infuse, but removing its ability to give mana back to Soraka. What are the goals with these changes?
The Soraka changes really revolve around two things: increasing her ability to restore mana to friends and support in a unique way, as well as reducing her kind of like unshakability out of lane due to her own resource sustain. By removing the ability for Soraka to cast Infuse on herself, we make it so that she can't have infinite mana anymore, and therefore those mana costs on her other skills are actually meaningful. The upside to this is that Infuse now restores more mana when used on friends. This is kind of an interesting lane comp kind of decision you can make if you want to really bring Soraka and feed the other guy in your lane mana. We wanted to still make sure that Soraka could zone and harass effectively, so we've lowered the mana cost on Starcall to kind of make up for the Infuse change.
We have 2 Vladimir nerfs coming in, lowering the bonus healing on the early ranks of Tides of Blood, and slightly lowering the damage amplification from his ultimate, Hemoplague. Why are we nerfing Vladimir?
When we lowered the cooldown on Transfusion and the cost on Tides of Blood, we liked that he was able to cast spells more often, but he was getting too much sustain earlier in the game. By making the healing bonus scale with ranks of Tides of Blood, this will kind of smooth out the curve between the early game and the late game, making Vladimir still feel good in team fights in later game, but without the abuse cases we see in the early game. In longer games and when heavily farmed, Vladimir's late game damage was getting a little too high. By reducing the damage amp on Hemoplague, this allows us to lower that late game damage without taking away the fun gameplay for Vlad.
Thanks for tuning in to the League of Legends Patch Preview. Please subscribe to the Riot Games YouTube channel above, and don't forget to thumbs us up just below the video.